Hi, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to discuss about an end-to-end web application with database connectivity. So here we are going to capture the events from the user and I'm going to use that events for some sentimental analysis. So let me give you an overview of the architecture of what we are going to do today. So here I'm using Python Flask framework for building a Python-based web application with HTML and CSS, and then I'm going to capture the details of user who click on what image in my web page, and that events will be get stored in my MySQL database. So the tech stack is Python Flask and MySQL. So the architecture is web application. Then I'm going to capture the events from the user and store it in my MySQL. Then on top of it, we're going to do some kind of a data processing. And finally, you can report it if it is required. So for this, I'm not going to show you anything today, no reporting tool, but I'm going to give you some tip, but by end of the video so that it will be helpful for you. So we're going to discuss only these four layers: a web application, click events, MySQL, and data processing. Fine. So let me show you the output first. So this is my page which I have created. It's similar to like Myntra, Ajio, or Flipkart Fashion. Like I'm created an fashion and design kind of website with one image. That's just for a kickstart for you to explain. It's going to be an kind of a lengthier video, so please be patient with me, and the video will be very interesting for you. It's gonna be very interesting for you. So first let me show you my HTML page. So I have created an index.html. So this is the code for this content. Whatever the output which you are seeing here, the source code is this index.html. So here I'm having CSS, which is cascading style sheet, which gives like a makeup for the HTML. So HTML looks just a skeleton. When we add the CSS, it will look beautiful. So that's only the main thing of CSS. So I created HTML head tag, and then within style tag, I included the CSS. So I'm not going to give you a very deep introduction or explanation of the CSS. So I'm sharing the code. You can use the CSS as is. So even I have taken this particular CSS part from internet only. So CSS is all about providing design to my HTML. So I will give you an kind of an one-liner definition, like where I'm going to use the CSS in my actual code. I'll give you that. So if you see here, I just close my style, then I close my head tag, and then I open my body. And here I added a heading product jeans, which you can able to see here, product jeans. Now, you can see I'm using div class card. What is this div class? So here, this card in my CSS, I want to use the design of the content, means whatever the shadow, the width, the margin, the alignment of text, font family. So everything what I have given inside this card, I need that to be get applicable to my HTML pieces. So I use div tag to refer my CSS card so that any of the content what I use inside here will use that design. So this is what a relationship I can give for the CSS and HTML. If you are very new to CSS and HTML, so this will help you to understand just for this particular video content. Okay. Now, if you see, I have an image which is jeans and alternate text, like in some browser or sometime if image is not available, it will display some alternate word, which is the brand name of the jeans, some random name I've generated and the width for it. And if you see here, so this is the image. And if you are very familiar with HTML, you may get a question now. So generally to pass image, we used to give image tag src equal to the path of the image only, right? But here you are using something like URL for static. What does that mean? I will explain you, because for this is required somehow for our Flask implementation. So I will tell you this by end of the video or mid of the video. So what is this URL for static? So I will tell you that. Fine. So next I'm giving a heading here, the product name you can see. So this is ASWQ jeans. So this is the heading tag I'm giving here. And then here again, I'm using one more CSS called price. Okay, what is there inside price class of CSS? Color is gray, font size is 22, and this price is $19.99. If you see, this is what. So I'm giving a gray color and font size is 22. I'm giving this in CSS and I'm referring it to my in my HTML. Next, so there is a paragraph tag. I mention it as jeans. You can see here. And then finally, I create a button with a link in it. So we used to give link with the help of href. Href is used in HTML to create a link, and the text for the button is add to cart, I close the respective tags. So add to cart. Now you can see here in herf there is something move forward. What is that? In herf, what we used to give, right? Generally we used to give another HTML file or another page, so server pages, so where when we click the button it has to go to the respective page. That is what the herf is used to. So we refer to some other link. So here I give move forward. So move forward is a function as a method that I have written in my Flask application using Python. So that I will show you now. So let me go to my Python Flask application here. You can see here. So first you need Flask to be get installed via pip command, and then you have to import it, and then render template request and Flask or require for us for the code, and then you need this beautiful soup is a package which is used to get the extract the content from HTML files. So I'm using this as well. And then URL open is another library which I use to open any URL just to parse something on that URL. It's just an extraction of the content from the URL. And then Flask MySQL DB because I'm going to connect my Flask application with MySQL. So I need this. So you just need to import all these, and also you need to install all this by using pip command. And then I create an application for my Flask app equal to Flask of name. And then with this app, I'm giving all the configuration information required for MySQL. So MySQL host, MySQL user is root, host is localhost, and password is root, and my DB name is ecom. The DB is something that I created in MySQL. I will show you when we move on to MySQL part. Now I create an object for my MySQL here, and this line number 20, I will tell you where I'm using it later, but I will tell you what is this. URL open, I just wanted to open this index.html file, whatever I have means this file. I just wanted to open this particular URL. So that's the reason I have given here. And since this HTML is in my local, I have to start with file colon double slash. So if it is a real website, then fine, you don't want to give file. But since it's in my local, I have to give file colon double slash. And then since it's a Flask application, you have to route when it comes to the URL patterns. So here, Flask application, to trigger this application, you have to use this in main method app.run, and then you can say in which port number it has to run. So Flask is a web application framework. So any web application framework you go to run your application, you need a web server. So we have the web server internally with Flask, so that runs in a port number. So we can say that port number, whatever the port number is free, you can use it. So here I'm given 5000, and debug mode is true, so that I can see the changes happens whenever I click something in the page. I can able to see in the command line after running the code. So that's the reason I've just given the debug mode as true. If you don't want the debug mode, you can remove it, but it will be good if you use it. Fine. So here, when you run this application, right? So it will run in the port number 5000 in the browser. You can see in localhost 127.0.0.1, and it's running in the port. So the combination of this is what your Flask application uses, the URL and port number pattern. And if you give slash here, so this slash represents in our code this line. So whenever I give the IP address colon port number slash, it has to render the index.html. That is the meaning. So when I give slash and enter, so I'm getting this index.html page. It returns me the index.html page. Now, the next thing is, so it goes like this. So now I have started giving, I executed a port number, IP port number slash, it comes to index.html. But in index.html, I display my product with a link in the button, and that link is move forward. So move forward is a function that I have written in my code. You can see here. So that means when I click this add to cart button, it execute this method move forward in my app.py. So what this move forward has, if you see here the very first line, as I told you, I'm going to capture the IP address and the product details from the user when they click a particular product. So this is what our agenda. So to get the IP address of the user, you have to give request.remote address. So if you give request.remote address, it will retrieve the IP address. Since my IP address is localhost, it will retrieve 127.0.0.1. Okay. And then I'm using this beautiful soap, and line number 20, I said I will tell you when I'm going to use this. So you can see here, so Beautiful Soap is a package which opens a particular HTML page and then it has the ability to parse the HTML content. So I'm parsing it, and with the help of that I'm going to find h1 tag from the page. So where the h1 tag is here. So that means the output of this particular line will be a so this line, so the 41 line, the 41st line, the whole line including tags. See, sorry, not tags, including tag. Okay, so if you see here app.py, if you print this soup 2, you will be getting output as with tags. So I want to remove the tags. I need only the heading part, but not the h1 tag. So for that, I'm converting that to a text. So if I print this product now, I will be getting only ASWQ jeans. I will not get that h1 tag. Okay, fine. So now here comes the MySQL part. So I'm creating a connection here, mysql.connection.cursor, and then with that cursor variable, I'm executing a command, insert into click event. I'm inserting the retrieved information, the IP address and the heading, the product name into the table. So click event is a table that I have created. I will show you. So in that I have two columns, IP address and port details, sorry, product details, values. I'm giving percentages and percentages. That means this IP is going to this first percentages, the product goes to second percentages. So this IP is nothing but the IP address which got retrieved and stored here, and this product is nothing but the product name from the h1 tag. Okay, so this will be get inserted, and once the commit, I'm doing a commit the changes, I'm committing the changes, the inserted values, I'm committing it, and then I'm closing my MySQL. And once this is done, the last line is this move forward function should redirect us to a different HTML page. So I'm doing that. So cart.html, I will show you here. You can see here add to cart. So when I click this add to cart button, it goes to, I'm sorry, I have to execute the code. So I have stopped it in between. So let me re-execute it. Okay. So before I execute, I just wanted to tell you one thing, the folder structure. So that is very important. So you create one folder, and within that you need to keep your application, that app.py, and you have to store all your HTML files in the folder name called templates. That's important. If you see here, in index.html, sorry, in app.py, so you see here I'm not giving the whole path of my index.html, C desktop blah blah blah. I have not given the complete path. So you may get a question, so how come you are doing this? So I'm the index.html is inside template. So Flask has that understanding that wherever the app.py present in the same folder, I have to keep all my HTMLs into the template folder. So this template folder will be referred automatically by your Flask. So you have to create a template folder and place all your HTML files. So Flask will automatically check is there any template folder near your Python file. If it is there, it will read the HTML within that folder. Next, if you see in index.html, I said I will explain you what is this URL for static, right? So I have given jeans2.jpg, but I didn't give the complete path. Again, the same question. How come you are not giving the complete path? So if this static is it's something similar to what I explained for template. So in the same folder where you have the app.py, you have to create a folder static, and within that static place your all images, so that this particular line will automatically it means this particular line will check is there any folder called static in your folder where the actual app.py present. If exist, it will take the image inside that folder. So this is a folder structure. Please maintain. You have to create a static folder and then the template folder. Static folder plays all your images. Template folder plays all your HTML files. Fine. So now I'm gonna run this Python app.py. So if you see here, debug mode is on and my server gets started. So now your Flask application is running in 127.0.0.1 5000. So let me go here. I give the same IP address and port and then slash. So I get my page. So when I click this add to cart, what will happen? It will execute the move forward method, and within move forward method I have two things. One is insert in MySQL, and the second thing is redirect to another HTML page. Enter. Okay, if you see added to cart, I can show you that in the HTML. If you see in the app.py, render template at last cart.html, where it is, cart.html added to cart. So this is what it get displayed over there. And at the same time, it has to insert the record in the MySQL. Now let's go to MySQL part. Okay. So for that you have to install MySQL. So you have some videos available. You can install MySQL like server in your Windows machine. That's very easy to do. Okay, and here my password is root. As I showed you already in my code, I in the config of MySQL, localhost is host name, root is username, password is router username. Sorry, password is root. So I'm giving my password as root. Let me increase the font size here. Okay, so I will list all the databases. So here our database is ecom. So you can see here in the code I have given as ecom. So now I have to change, I have to enter into the database. You have to use ecom, and then let me show you all the tables inside this. So click events. So this is a table you can see in the insert script I have used, insert into click events. So let me describe the table. Click events, sorry, mistake in the table name. You can see I have created the table with two columns with varchar 20 and product details as varchar 100. So if you want to create a table, you have to do like this: create table, for example demo, and then IP varchar of 10 is the length that you are gonna fill with your inserts. So if the content is gonna be more than 100, then you have to give 100, or 50 you have to give 50, some predictive value you can give. So then again product, so product, it's again a varchar of I give 20 also. So if you give more than 20 words, right, letters, right, so you will get an error. The insert will be get failed. So that's it. So this is how you have to create a table. So the same way I created the click events. So let me select the click event table. Okay, so you can see there is 9 records. So whenever the user click the add to cart button, it will capture the IP address, and also it will capture the product on which I have clicked the add to cart button, the product name. So I will show you. So you have 9 records, right? So let me go back. Let me kill this and start it again. So you don't want to start for each and every run, but I'm just doing it to just show you from first. Okay. So you have only 9 records, right? So I'm gonna run it again. So you will get 10 records now. Select star from click events. So you got 10 records because I just executed once, right? So now the data gets stored in MySQL. So on top of it, what I'm going to do, so why we capture the information? See, with these data engineers, the backend data engineers will perform some kind of an sentimental analysis, and or they can perform some analytical queries, or some they can do some data science and predict how customers are interested on what product and what in future they will like in my particular product. So those information can be get generated by doing all the data engineering activities. For example, one small query I'm going to show you. I just wanted to know from this particular IP address 127.0.0.1 how many clicks have been generated. So this is one requirement from my client. So he's asking me, I need all the list of IP address with the time, how many time they have clicked a particular product. So now select count star from click even where IP underscore address equal to 127.0.0.1. Okay, 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 it's a spelling mistake. Okay, so if you see here, there is 10 count from 127.0.0.1. So he visited products in our site for 10 times, right? So, but still, even after 10 times of visiting, still he didn't buy the product. So that means as a product owner, I have to check why this particular customer is not getting, means he's not buying the product, but he's visiting 10 times in a day. So that means he's expecting some offers, or he's expecting some discounts. So I'm going to do that for him. So this is what the background data engineers or data science algorithms will there to do all these kind of predicting transformations and analysis on top of the data. So this is an end-to-end with a small processing query I've showed you, but you can enhance this application a lot as to a bigger project as well. So this is what the end-to-end I was thought of showing it to you, and it's kind of done. So one more thing, as I told you, for reporting, I said I will give you a tip, right? So I have a video called Zeppelin with MySQL. So Zeppelin is a tool, a web-based notebook which will generate an interactive charts like pie chart, graph chart, bar chart. So the same query what you executed in MySQL, you can execute in Zeppelin by integrating Zeppelin with MySQL. So the output of the MySQL will be in charts, pie chart, graph chart. So you can export that and you can report it to your client as well. So that video link, I'm providing it in the description box of the video. You can have a look on it. So the end-to-end architecture of like a web application, to capturing the click events, to storing it to MySQL and doing some level of data processing on it, is what we discussed today, and it's all done. So thanks for watching my channel. If you really like this video, please do subscribe channel and forward this to your friends and colleagues. And please do me a favor, please, if you are really if you really like my video, please share my video in your LinkedIn profile, so I'll be getting more views and support as well, and I need your support as well. So thanks for watching.